Good afternoon, dear students. Welcome back to our online classes. Today, for 10th standard, you have your English class. Actually, we have discussed two chapters last day, and now I am going to deal with a poem that is the third unit of your main course book, A Tiger in the Zoo. It has been written by Leslie Norris. All the students have to go through the poem because the title itself, A Tiger in the Zoo, the title itself expresses what the poem conveys. Okay. So when I am asking you, when I am taking this lesson, what comes to your mind? Tell me, what comes to your mind? The picture of a ferocious animal like tiger. Okay. So I ask my students, where does it see? Actually, where can we see the tiger? Someone say that it can be seen in the forest. Firstly, we tell. Okay, somebody is telling from there. It can be seen in the zoo, right? That means the tiger can be seen either in the forest or in the zoo. Understand? So this poem also tells the same thing to us. The poet Leslie Norris, all the students want to understand who is the poet. It's Leslie Norris. Leslie Norris is a Welsh poet and a short story writer. Through this poem, he likes to convey the message that we should not make harm to our tiger. That means tigers are not to be allowed to be lived in the zoo. Understand? Here the poet tells us the contrasting pictures of the tiger when it is in the zoo and it is in the forest. Very clearly he expresses all the ideas in a very simple language. Okay, I think you all will have understood what I am teaching. So let me go through the poem. He stops in his vivid strides, a few steps of his cage on parts of velvet quiet in his quiet rage. Okay, all of you go through the first stanza. It is a 4-line stanza. He stops in his vivid strides. Okay, what does it mean by stalk? What do you mean by stalk? Right, stalk means walking very slowly. Understand? What is stalk? Stalk means walking very slowly. And have you seen this one, vivid? Vivid you have already studied. Vivid means very clear, very bright. Okay, very bright stripes. He stops in his vivid stripes, a few steps of his cage on parts of velvet quiet in his quiet range. Here he refers to the tiger. Understand? He refers to the tiger. What does the tiger do? Tiger stalks where? The tiger stalks a few steps in the cage in the zoo. Understand? And how the body of the tiger, everyone knows that the body of the tiger is with stripes. Have you noticed the stripes on the body of the tiger? Right, it's very bright, very clear. Whenever it is, we can see it very clearly, we can see the tiger. Okay, so here the poet also expresses the tiger walks in the cage. You know the cage? Is it spacious? No. It is very limited area only for the tiger to walk. So the tiger walks there. On parts of velvet quiet. Here what does it mean? What is velvet? Velvet, everyone knows the velvet fabric, everyone knows that, right? He stops a few steps on parts of velvet quiet. How does the tiger walk? We know that using it clothes, using it clothes. How the clothes? The clothes are like the velvet fabric. Understand? And using it is as soft as the velvet fabric. What is as soft as the velvet fabric? Right, the claws of the tiger. So the tiger stops in the limited space. How? With its claws. Understand? How does the claws? How is it compared? It is compared to the velvet fabric. Understand? Very quiet way. In his quiet rage, even the tiger walks very slowly in the limited area of the cage. The tiger is angry, very angry to the people who are coming to see or visit. But quiet rage. What is rage? Angry. But is it expressed in a shouting way? No. In the zoo, the tiger expresses his anger in the silent way. Understand? It is expressed as quiet. Okay. So I think you have understood the first stanza. It expresses the condition of the tiger in the zoo. Firstly, the poet takes us to the zoo. How does the tiger live there? Okay. So I think you have all understood. So let me take the second stanza. Look at there. There again, he is used to, he means the tiger should be lurking in shadow, sliding through long grass near the waterholes where plum deer pass. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, bearing his white fangs, his claws, terrorizing the village. The second two stanzas, that means the second and third stanza takes us to the memory of a tiger in the forest. What does it do? He should be lurking. Okay, the tiger, how the tiger in the forest? Is it acting as we see in the zoo? No, it's not. Of course, it was a ferocious nature, very cruel nature. So, here the poet tells us how the tiger lived in the forest. How? It should be lurking in shadow. What do we mean lurking? Lurking means lying in wait. What do you mean by lurking? Lurking means lying in wait. Where does the tiger lay? Where does the tiger lay in wait? It is lying in the shade of an object or in the shadow and sliding through long grass. Not it walks on the grass, because when it walks, what happens? When it walks, the sound of the tiger may be heard by the animal who are passing there. So here the tiger only tries to slide through long grass. Okay, sliding, not walking, because if it is walked, what happens? Other animals may hear the sound of the tiger is walking. Understand? I think you all have understood. So what is the tiger doing? The tiger is lying in the shade of an object or in the shade and making a sliding movement where near the water holes where plum deer pass. The tigers, which is the favorite animal or favorite prey of the tiger? Prey means P-R-E-Y, prey. Okay, tell me, what is the favorite prey? Which is the favorite prey of the tiger? Can anyone say? Okay, there you, okay, right, that's good, right, very good. That is the favorite prey of the tiger is the deer. Okay, deer, a fat plum deer. It is a favorite prey of the tiger. So, the tiger was lying in a shadow for what? To get the fat deer who passes near the forest for what? Near the waterholes, because most of the times deers are coming to fetch water from the waterholes in the forest. By that time, the tiger Oh, what does the tiger do? The tiger lurking in the shadow and sliding through the long grass for what? To attack the deer. It was a great moment in the life of a tiger. Understand? So, in the second stanza, the poet tells us about how the tiger lives in the forest. Okay, can anyone say how the tiger lives in the forest? Okay, it is living in the forest by attacking its prey for his food. Understand? Which is a favorite prey? Right, you know, the plump deer. Plump means very fat. Okay, so let's move through the third stanza. I have already told you the third stanza also describes about the life of the tiger in the zoo. Sorry, it is in the forest. He should be snarling around houses at the jungle's edge, baring his white fangs, his claws terrorizing the village. Oh, how is it? What the tiger does? It should be snarling around the houses, growling and showing his teeth. You know how the tiger, because sometimes when we go through a forest, have you ever gone through a forest? No, there is no chance. Okay, you may not have. But you have seen in the, in some Discovery Channel and something like that, you might have seen how the tiger is. It was snarling around houses. What is snarling? Growling. Making sound or making a warning sound near the houses, around the houses and the jungle side. You know, every jungle is located near a village. So the tiger is living there. Sometimes the tiger comes to near the village and makes the growling sound. Okay, that is called snarling. You all have to understand what is snarling. Have you got? Baring his white fangs, his claws terrorizing the village. What does the tiger do then? After coming to the edge of the jungle, the tiger tries to terrorize the villagers. Okay, terrorize the people who are living in the village. How? By growling. Okay, that is called here. And how? One is by growling, it tries to terrorize the village. And baring his white fangs. Baring means exposing or showing its white fangs. What is fangs? Fangs, you know, that the teeth of the tiger. Bangs, teeth of the tiger. How the fangs are used? Right. Very good. That is right. How the fangs are used? Fangs are used to seize the animal. Okay, seize or catch the animal. Here, the tiger, by showing his fangs and sometimes showing its claws, you know, claws. As I told you in the first time, how the claws are explained in the first answer, it's like velvet. Okay. Oh, and sometimes it shows us the curved nail. That is called claws. Okay. The curved nail of the tiger's body is called claws. And by showing it the claws and the fangs and growling, the tiger is trying to terrorize the village when it is used to live in the forest. Got the idea? I think you all have understood the third stanza. Okay, first stanza, it takes us to the zoo, and the second and third stanza, the poet takes us to the jungle where how the tiger lived. Understand? Okay. So the next two stanzas, the poet tells the pathetic, miserable condition of the tiger in the zoo. Suppose you think you are a human being, whether you like to be inside the cages. No one likes, because everyone wants freedom. Like that, the tiger also. But what happens? That the poet in the two stanzas, the poet told us that how the tiger lives in the jungle. But Again, poet expresses the disappointment, but he is locked in a concrete cell. You know, locked in a concrete cell. His strength behind the bars. Bar. In the concrete cell, the tiger is enclosed. A concrete enclosure is given to the tiger now in the zoo. And how the space of the cage? It is very limited. So stalking, already I have discussed, stalk means walking. Stalking the length of his cage, ignoring visitors. In the zoo, all the people come to see the tiger. All the persons may come and visit the tiger. At that time, it ignores. What do you mean by ignoring? Ignore means refuse deliberately. Refuse deliberately. Understand? I think all of you have understood. Deliberate refusing of the tiger toward the human being. Okay, towards the people who have come to visit. I think you all have understood. Now where the tiger is? Right, the tiger is in the zoo. It was a ferocious animal, very cruel animal, and it was making sound. It was growling and attacking the deer. Tiger. I don't want to explain more. It was a situation when once it was in the forest. But what happened? Now it is in the cell, or it is in the cage. It very deliberately refusing to see the people who are coming to watch it. Okay, understood. Then the last answer, he hears the last voice at night. In the jungle. How the jungle at night? Oh, it's unimaginable. Okay, very good. Especially the persons who likes nature, likes to hear all the noises of the jungle and all. The tiger also once like that. It was hearing the sounds of all the animals in the jungle. Oh, very beautiful days. Right, but what happens? Now the tiger is in the cell. Okay, is in the cage. So devoid of freedom. He is helpless. He can't do nothing. Okay. Who hears the last voice at night? The patrolling cars. What is the sound that the tiger hears at night in the zoo? What is that? Patrolling cars. You know what is patrolling cars? It is the what is that? Patrolling means roaming. Roaming? Roaming cars means it is the the vehicle of the guard patrolling, roaming to the zoo. For what? For what you tell me? Alright, very good. To check whether everything is right or not. Oh, the same patrolling sound is heard by the tiger at night. Okay, he hears the last voice. What is the last voice heard by the tiger? Oh, what? Really, very good. Patrolling cars. And stares with his brilliant eyes at the brilliant stars. And here the poet is telling the very disappointed condition of the tiger to us, how at night he was looking at the stars with his brilliant eyes, very beautiful eyes. How the very shining eyes of the tiger. The eyes of the tiger is like the shining stars. Okay, very shining, very bright. Here the tiger is looking at the bright stars with its bright eyes. Even the freedom to watch the sky, watch the stars is denied here. He is very disappointed. Understand? Really? We also have the same feeling by ending up the poem. How the condition of the tiger. Okay. So I sum up the poem. In this poem, the poet tells us two contrasting images of how it lived in the jungle and how it is in the zoo. The two images are given. Where how it is in the zoo, it is inside the cage and also devoid of freedom. helpless. Okay, all these things are there. But it was very happy inside in the forest, and reminds him of the days he was in the forest, attacking the plum deer, fat deer, and the memory of terrorizing the village with his claws and with his claws and fangs. All these things are clearly depicted in the poem. Actually, the poet advocates the freedom of animals. He tells animals should not be kept in the cage. Sometimes someone tells that animals are to be kept in the cage because of in order to save it. But here the poet advocates for the freedom, liberty of the animals. Okay, that is the poem it's all about. Thank you. And we have to go through the poetic devices. Especially you are in 10th standard. In your board examination, poetic devices are asked. Okay, you know that now. Someone knows how the poetic devices work. Which are there? Right, you may tell that. Simile is there. Right, metaphor. Then the first poem we studied about enjambment. Alliteration there. Right, assonance there, consonance there. So many literary devices are used in the poem to make it very beautiful. Okay, so let's move on to the literary devices used in the poem. So, first I am talking about, you look at the poem, the first stanza of the poem. Here, you look at the first line, he stalks in his vivid stripes. What is that? Have you seen any peculiarity of this poem, of this line? Right. Stalks in his vivid stripes. That means the word sir sound is repeated many times in this poem. Is sir a vowel or consonant? Consonant. So, the consonant sound as sir is repeated in this line. So, that specialty can be called as consonants. Okay. Then another sound, E sound. Okay. E sound is repeated in this line. E is a vowel sound. So it can be called assonance. Okay. It can be called assonance. So consonants is there, assonance is there. Understand? And another one. Right, metaphor is there. What metaphor is used here? Right, here the parts of velvet coat. Okay, by this combination of words, which is represented, firstly I have told you, it represents the claws of the tiger. So, the claws of the tiger is represented as the parts of velvet coat. Understand? So, what is called a metaphor? Metaphor is a term used to represent something. Okay, metaphor is a figure of speech or term to represent something. Here, the parts of velvet coat is symbolized to the claws of the tiger. Okay, right. That is called a metaphor. So I told you, metaphor is used assonance there, consonants. Next one, quiet rage. What is quiet? Very calm, very silent. Okay. Rage, anger. Is anger become silent? No. Because when you are angry, are you silent? No. That is why there are two opposite or contradictory words are used. Silent is not used to, suited to rage or anger. Every time anger is a kind of shouting. So here the two contradictory words are used. Such kind of literary devices is called oxymoron. Okay, what is called oxymoron. Tell me oxymoron. What is oxymoron? Two contradictory words are used. Understand? Again, I want to take you to the next stanza. There is a kind of metaphor that is called alliteration. What is alliteration? Once we have discussed in the first poem, alliteration means the initial consonant sounds per and per is repeated in the last line of the second stanza. Okay, plum pass. There per is repeated. So it can be called as alliteration. Okay, it can be called as alliteration. Alliteration means initial consonant sounds are repeated. Per and per. All of you go through the poem. Okay. And then we go to the last line. Right, the third stanza, he should be snarling. What is snarling? I have already told you, snarling is a growling sound. Right, snarling is a sound word. Okay, what is sound word are called? Onomatopoeia. Okay, sound words are called onomatopoeia. You know, crack. Okay, snarling and snarling. It is a kind of onomatopoeic word. Okay, onomatopoeia, a sound word. Understand? And we have to go through the rhyme scheme. Rhyme scheme here, we can give it as types A and B, C, B. That means cage and page is rhymed together. Okay, so the rhyme scheme of this poem is A, B, C, B. Okay, rhyme scheme of the poem is A, B, C, B. Understand? I think you all have got the poetic devices. And also another one is there. Every time the poet uses he and his to the tiger. Is tiger a human being? No. That is called humanly actions are attached to non-human. That is called personification. Okay, here he is referred to the tiger. So it can be called personification. Okay, so how many literary devices are used? So many literary devices, and also imagery. Because when we go through the poem, lot of images are coming. Images of the growling tiger, images of the tiger which is showing its claws and fangs to the people. So many images are there. That the poem is full of imagery. Okay. So from this poem, we have to understand the animals are not to be kept in the zoo. We have to remember the life of the animals. Okay. So let me winding it up. Thank you.